Hey there y'all, it's PK Beats, and in today's video we've got even more nonsense to go over, like how to break the game's camera, or trivial facts about characters' alts that you'll either forget about immediately, or remember for the rest of your life. You know, the usual stuff. Before we get to that though, in my last video I mentioned how in unlocking your Switch's screen, pressing the ZL and ZR buttons makes a unique noise. I failed to mention two things. The first being that the noise that the shoulder buttons make are different from each other. The other being that you also get a unique noise if you press down on either control stick. I always forget that pressing the control stick is its own button. It's kinda weird, but also pretty neat. Also, look at what finally showed up. This shiny rectangular plate will be a great serving vessel for my scrumptious fish sticks. As appreciation for letting me have this fancy dish, I'm gonna take a break from shoving this godforsaken chart in your faces, and just say thank you all for the continued support. Now, without further ado, Orange B75511990 shows me a really interesting camera glitch involving cinematic final smashes. Now, I had to do a lot of testing to figure out how to get this to consistently happen, and it took a lot of trial and error, but I was finally able to reach a point to tell you all how you can get your screen to look like this. Basically, all you need is a cutscene final smash, like heroes or banjos or jokers. Now, I've got spirits to make testing easier. On the person with the final smash, I've given them a spirit that increases the rate in which their final smash meter charges. And I also need a character that can deal damage without knockback, like Fox or Bowser, to help charge the meter. I've given them a power boosting spirit. This is all just to make testing easier for me, so all you really need is just a cutscene final smash and access to the camera. The setup is incredibly simple. Get your final smash, get near an opponent, close enough to hit them with it, pause, and go into the game's camera. You might notice that if you hold down or tap the L button, the match itself will progress frame by frame, despite still being in the camera. What you want to do is pause, go into the camera, and hit L and B or whatever button to activate your final smash at the exact same time. I'll get a little bit more specific about that later. Just hit L and B at the same time and nothing else. You'll be forced out of the camera as the final smash has to activate. And that's it. After the final smash is done, the camera is glitched. This is what it looks like on Spiral Mountain. It's just sort of stuck to the sky. You can't see your characters at all, no matter how high you jump. You can only visualize them through the off-screen bubbles or the minimap that may appear. Now, activating Fox's final smash here actually made the camera even worse. And now, for some reason, the characters are taking gradual damage, which is the off-screen damage that you can take, despite still being on stage. So I guess the camera got pushed back even further. And activating Hero's final smash again returned it to its normally glitched state. Going back into the camera, you'll notice that none of the controls work at all. You can't move, add filters, and the frame by frame setting doesn't work, as indicated by the fact that I can't activate my final smash here. The camera is just completely broken. And I don't think there's any way to truly fix this here other than finishing or quitting the match. The beautiful thing about this glitch is how diverse it is. Look at what happens when I do it on Kalos. The screen turns completely white. And when I pause and go into the camera, it goes black. If you do this with Joker though, the background just stays as the one from his final smash. Also, this works on the Omega variants of Kalos with the same results, so that's useful to know. Also, a little tangent, but if you look at the off-screen bubbles here, it actually shows the stage itself, which can be a good way to maneuver if you have to. The thing is, though, this off-screen bubble doesn't seem to show the opponent. Like, Joker is definitely next to Bowser right here, and yet Bowser's bubble just shows himself. So that's pretty interesting. This all reminds me of something I saw on Twitter from VaporHFX regarding this very glitch. If we bring two Luigis into the mix, we could do something really crazy. You know how you can have two Luigis keep going upwards if they keep hitting each other with the sour spot of their up specials? It's not enough knockback to KO them in the top blast zone, but it still hits them out of their free fall, allowing this Luigi ladder to work. However, if we manage to get this set up while the camera is glitched out and keep doing it, it's a bit difficult to really tell because of how the lighting is, but we can definitely see that the Luigis are passing by our camera. and they seem to be facing to the Z-axis, or maybe rather the camera itself is positioned into an entirely new axis. What this makes me believe is that in this glitch state, the in-game camera is now positioned really high above the stage, and at a weird angle, which is what allows us to see the two lover Luigis pass by on their trip. Lastly for this glitch, remember how when I was testing earlier, when I used Fox's Final Smash after the camera was glitched, things got even more glitched? Well, on Discord, Scully shows me a setup that mixes two camera glitches to totally screw with the camera again, much like before. All we'll need is the same setup as before, but also Olimar. Give both your cutscene Final Smash character and Olimar their Final Smashes. Activate the cutscene Final Smash while in the camera as before, but the moment that's done and the camera is glitched, activate Olimar's Final Smash. Things will get messed up, but eventually the camera will return back to normal. If you count the flickering background as normal, that is. It's even more pronounced if you do it on the Minecraft stage. But if you use a different Final Smash, like Joker's, Olimar's Final Smash will change the camera in a different way. It's now tilted. And when you go into the camera, it stays generally tilted. This can also be seen on Battlefield with the same characters, so it's like each effect depends on which Final Smash you use. Considering how many combinations of Final Smashes and stages there are, I'm not going to test all of them and list out every individual effect. Instead, I encourage everyone to give this glitch a shot. It's really easy to pull off, all things considered, since you really only need access to the in-game camera and some cutscene Final Smash. But before I move on, I do need to point out a few things that may go wrong when you're trying to do this yourself. I found that this glitch can be pretty finicky, so here's a few tips. Like I said at the start, you have to tap L and B at the same time just once. The thing is, if you progress multiple frames in the camera before activating the Final Smash, it never seems to work. This is what really messed me up when I was initially testing, but I can only ever consistently get the glitch to happen if I just tap L and B at the same time, to progress only one frame and activate the Final Smash that same frame. If you progress more than one frame, just unpause and try again. Another thing that might mess you up is the camera itself. I've found that if the camera is moving on its own when you pause and activate the Final Smash, it won't work. Like here on Spiral Mountain, the camera is automatically zooming out and it didn't work. I believe this is also the case for when the camera automatically adjusts itself when the characters are spread out, from what I've seen. So my word of advice is to just let the camera settle down to a complete standstill before trying. Other than that though, have fun trying out a bunch of different combinations of stages and Final Smashes. And feel free to report anything big to either my Twitter or my Discord, links below. I've seen stuff about this glitch for a while now, but considering the first time I've seen it was like almost a year ago, and this still hasn't been patched or anything, I'm just gonna take the guess that it hasn't been covered by anyone too big yet, so there we go. Speaking of Final Smashes though, Nintendo gives me a pretty interesting fact regarding Young Link's Final Smash versus Pichu. Notice if you can point out any difference between these two clips. Did you spot it? You might notice that the combo number and the total damage dealt is different between these two Final Smashes. Well, what's happening is that in the clip where the combo and damage is lower, there's this part of the Final Smash near the 10th hit that just straight up misses. You can tell because the constant barrage of hit sounds goes quiet for a short second. I don't really know why this happened, and it sort of occurred almost every other Final Smash attempt I tried, so about a 50% chance give or take, regardless of how close or far away from Pichu I was. This is still really weird though. And I tried this with a few other characters and nothing strange happened. And I also tried it with Toon Link's Final Smash against Pichu and nothing goes out of place either, so it looks like this is specifically for Young Link and Pichu. Speaking of Young Link though, Hobbs T Hero gives me a fun little fact about Young Link's 6th alt. That being that this variant of Young Link is unique in that he is wearing pants. They're baby barf green. Actually, pause. Hi, yeah, this is post-production PK Beats here. I was originally going to go on a tangent about how his pants here looked green, despite how it's actually supposed to represent Link's champion's outfit, which I had found really weird. Like, why would the pants be green if they're meant to be beige, like on Champion Link? But upon examining it closer, the hue is actually very close to that of Link's pants. I still think they look green, and I did ask a few other people to make sure I wasn't alone there. I guess olive is the better term for it, but whatever. So yeah, the alt represents Link's champion's outfit. The pants look green, but I guess they aren't or something, blah blah blah, back to the script. Also, no, the Dark Link alt is not wearing pants, that's his skin color, for anyone who may try to comment that. Going back to screen glitches, this isn't necessarily on the same level as the ones before, but Epic Duck gives me a neat little setup that causes some really weird lighting issues to happen. Basically, just spawn in the Nightmare Assist trophy, and then the Pac-Man ghosts. The eternal darkness of Nightmare covers the stage, while the arcade-esque blue background of the Pac-Man Ghost Assist trophy lingers. Something interesting about this is that despite that the background is full color, we can't see silhouettes of our characters. Perhaps this means when Nightmare is in full action, everyone's models just turn invisible? Regardless, I think this looks pretty cool, like some sort of Twilight setting. Speaking of Hero, though, actually I never even talked about Hero, I just happened to be using him in the game footage. That one hermit gives me a really interesting fact regarding Little Mac's KO punch meter and Hero. That is, if Little Mac attacks Hero while he's in Kuklang, his KO meter will fill up, despite the fact that he's not dealing any damage. I'm not really sure if this is an oversight or anything though, as that's kinda just how Little Mac works. That is, if he attacks an invincible opponent, he will fill up the meter. The same is true for hitting someone's shield, or if the attack gets parried, it will all add to the KO meter. However, whiffing will of course not add to it. This is different from how mechanics like Arsene or Limit work, which would not fill up if your attack hits someone who is invincible. Though these meters also have a passive filling feature, whereas with Little Mac you're forced to either hit someone or get hit, so perhaps this is why they have given him this little quirk. It also makes me think about how this could be used in doubles. Little Mac could just keep punching his teammate's shield, which his teammate could parry, which could fill up the KO meter. Probably not the greatest strategy unless the opponent's trying to stall and you're confident that your teammate can parry properly, but you know, still pretty neat to think about. Still on the topic of Hero, Alter Red lists out the steps to have a really weird glitch with Hero happen. Basically, just give Hero a spirit with high attack power, cast Bounce, charge up Kafrizz, and have Pit or Dark Pit use their Guardian Orbiters. And notice how the Kafrizz projectile just sorta does a U-turn? This is a really weird way for the projectile to act. I didn't notice this with any other projectile that I tested, and this also didn't work with the Franklin badge. And Fox's Shine just straight up broke after reflecting Kafrizz once. I guess under these strangely specific circumstances, Kafrizz decides to turn into a boomerang of sorts. It's weird. Was that glitch not obscure enough for you? Well then let's look at this last fact by Tuna regarding Dr. Mario's frame data. This is based off of information you can get at ultimateframedata.com, by the way. And if we go ahead and look at the, say, jump height chart, we'll see that everyone's jump height is marked down to, at most, the 100th decimal place. But if we go to Dr. Mario's full hop height, his number has 4 decimal places, way more than anyone else. We can see this in other places too, like with airspeed, where everyone has at most 3 decimal places in their number, and Dr. Mario has 7. Or air acceleration speed, where Dr. Mario has 6 decimal places compared to the usual 3 or 4. Or walk speed, where it's also 6 decimal places compared to the usual 3 or so. Dr. Mario's frame data consistently has way more decimal places in his number than any other character. Is it because he has a PhD and is thus able to handle such complex numbers? Well, perhaps. But it may also be that some of Dr. Mario's frame data was calculated by taking Mario's frame data and just multiplying some number to it to increase or reduce the number. This process may be why Dr. Mario's got way more decimal places. Anyhow, that'll be enough for today's video. I'd like to thank my patrons Felipe Morla, Parade Dino, Rain, Dane Play, Furlant, Scully, Amon Sharif, Keko the Dragon, Skim Milk, Sky, and Stan Luna. I've finally been working on a few other projects of mine, and I even got my official TF2 channel up. There is no content on it yet, as I'm still working to organize my clips and learning how to use SFM, but I did make my own icon, which is pretty neat. I'll put that channel in the description if you're at all curious, but I'll more heavily advertise it when I get my first video uploaded. Also, I just really spontaneously want to give a shout out to Atri, sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. They made a Mother 3 style remix of my Certainly song that I really like. I've also linked that in the description. I might even remix that song myself to have more of an instrumentation and whatnot. Who knows? And lastly, just a real, genuine thank you to everyone who supported me enough to allow me to get the silver play button. It took a while to come in, but I'm so excited to have it now. It's so weird being able to hold it whenever I want and take pictures of it and whatnot. I know, statistically, a bunch of people get this award every year, but it's still really special to be able to have my username on one. So, thank you. With that, stay motivated, and stay casual, and I'll see y'all later.